There are more than 1.5 million arrests each year in the United States for drug law violations. Drug use has been a huge issue in the United States for years, but it has also caused problems for the prison system because of the amount of people being arrested for crimes related to drugs that are especially nonviolent. My policy proposition is that the United States federal government should legalize all illicit drugs. Drugs are a medicine or other substance which has a physiological effect when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. Illicit means forbidden by law, rules, or custom. And the United States federal government is defined as the system of government as defined in the Constitution, which is based on the separation of powers among three branches: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. This system provides a series of checks and balances because each branch is able to limit the power of the others. The United States government should legalize illicit drugs because it will benefit the economy financially as well as keep people out of the prison system and saving money in that regard as well. My first harm is because of the problem of mass incarceration, the prison system is overwhelmed and spending way more money than is necessary. According to the Sentencing Project, at the federal level, people incarcerated on a drug conviction make up nearly half the population in prisons. At the state level, the number of people in prisons for drug offenses has increased ninefold since 1980, although it has begun declining in recent years. Most are not high-level actors in the drug trade, and most have no prior criminal record for a violent offense. The prison system as a whole is struggling to deal with the vast amount of prisoners in the system in for petty drug crimes, when they should really be getting help for the problem that they have through means of therapy, rehab, and other things of that nature. I believe the impact of the federal government making illicit drugs legal would benefit the prison system in the sense financially, being able to keep more money to help with other prisoners, as well as the people who are getting locked up and keeping them out of the system that could trap them through felony charges and things like that for the future. We need to change the status quo because I believe that making these drugs legal will help our already overwhelmed prison system. It also will keep the criminals that deserve to be locked up in the prisons rather than people who don't. Making illicit drugs legal will save the United States government billions of dollars a year in the battle they have to keep these drugs off the street. According to Harvard, first, legislation eliminates arrests for trafficking in addition to eliminating arrests for possession. Second, legalization saves prosecutorial, judicial, and incarceration expenses. These savings are minimal in the case of decriminalization. Third, legalization allows taxation of drug production and sale, meaning that they'll be able to profit immensely from the sale of these drugs that are currently illegal suddenly becoming legal and being sold by the United States government. That is an estimated total, according to debt.org, of $13.9 billion in savings and income. Economist Stephen Easton penned an article in Businessweek that suggested the financial benefits of pot legalization may be even bigger than what Myron predicted in the past year. Easton guesses that legalizing the drug could bring in $45 to $100 billion per year in the United States. I believe that because of the success already of marijuana's legalization, if they do the same thing with other drugs with the same blueprint and same way of selling things through dispensaries and things of that nature, the United States government could reap even more benefits than they do with marijuana. The impact of making illicit drugs legal will help save the United States government billions of dollars a year in fighting the cause and getting those drugs off the street, it will for sure improve our economy a lot based on the amount of money coming in. Alone from marijuana, we're making $100 billion a year estimate through dispensaries. Can you imagine with every other type of drug, such as oxycodone, cocaine, heroin, other things of that nature? The status quo needs to change because it is not allowing the US government to profit off the potential success that could come from selling illicit drugs that are currently illegal. I believe what is causing the harm is the lack of support from the government itself to make drugs other than marijuana legal because of the tough history of most of them. According to OJP.gov, if drugs such as heroin are legalized, their price will be reduced significantly. Hypodermic needles will be readily available at the neighborhood drugstore, and drugs can be purchased anywhere. And on the point of the hypodermic needles, the fact that they're so readily available, it means it's safer for users. And that's a huge problem with AIDS, for example, that kills a lot of drug addicts and homeless people on the street that use. And there would no longer be any financial or medical reason to avoid drug use. Also, the big thing that is causing the harm is the fact that so many people are using the drugs illegally that if they are legalized, the intention is to profit off the people who still do use, but it will deter a lot of people from using as well and overdosing because they believe that is easier to get, so they won't need to use such excessive amounts once they get it because they believe that their next fix is so long away or it's going to be so hard to get. The impact of the lack of support from the government prevents them from profiting off the sale of all these different drugs. I believe that we need to do something about the cause because the economy can benefit greatly and the prison system will benefit from the legalized legislation immensely as well. My plan for solvency and change is through the government agency, the DEA. The DEA will create legislation to make this law legal and make illicit drugs legal, and it will go through due process in order to get passed. The first advantage is a benefit will be that people have legal access to the drug of their choice. Another benefit will be that people will not have to abuse the drugs they buy to the same extent because it will be readily available to them. My harms are that this legislation will save the US government billions of dollars per year, as well as help the prison system and the people convicted of petty drug crimes out of the system, and my counter harms are that it could cause more addiction and overdose, as well as violence throughout America. I uphold that the US government should make illicit drugs legal in the United States. We cannot eradicate global drug markets, but we can certainly regulate them, as we have done with alcohol and tobacco markets. Drug abuse, alcoholism, and tobacco should be treated as public health problems, not criminal justice issues. Guatemalan President Otto Perez Molina. Thank you.